Have you ever met someone who can walk into a room and instantly feel what no one is saying? They notice tension before words. They sense emotions people are trying to hide. It looks like intelligence. But what if it wasn't learned? What if it was built under pressure? There's something strange about highly perceptive people. The kind who read between the lines, who notice small shifts in tone, who understand others on a level that feels almost unnatural. Most people assume they learned it through books, experience, or maybe just natural talent. But that's not always the truth. For many of them, this ability wasn't chosen. It was developed. Psychologists are beginning to describe this as something called traumatic intelligence, a form of awareness shaped not by comfort, but by necessity. Because sometimes intelligence doesn't come from curiosity. It comes from survival. When someone grows up in an environment that feels unpredictable, where emotions shift quickly, where tension can rise without warning, the brain adapts. It becomes alert. It starts scanning. Not occasionally, but constantly. From a neurological perspective, areas like the amygdala, the brain's threat detector, and the prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, become highly active. The result is a mind that doesn't just observe reality, it analyzes it in real time. And this shows up in very specific ways. The first sign is something most people call intuition. But it's not really intuition. It's pattern recognition. You walk into a room, and before anyone speaks, something in you already knows how the atmosphere feels. You notice the slight tension in someone's posture. A forced smile. A pause that lasts just a little too long. Your brain is connecting signals faster than you can explain. Because at some point in your life, noticing those signals mattered. The second sign is a deep sensitivity to other people's emotions. You don't just hear what people say. You feel what they're not saying. Sometimes even before they understand it themselves. Psychology often describes this as hyperempathy. It develops when someone grows up needing to track emotional states closely, reading moods, adjusting behavior, staying one step ahead. Over time, this ability becomes automatic. You become the person who understands everyone, but is rarely understood. The third sign appears in moments of pressure. When things fall apart around you, something unexpected happens. You don't panic. You focus. Your mind becomes clear, organized, almost strategic. This is what researchers describe as stress adaptation. If your nervous system has been exposed to high-pressure environments early on, it learns how to function inside them. What feels overwhelming to others feels familiar to you. You don't freeze. You respond. The fourth sign is a constant need to understand people. You analyze conversations long after they end. You replay moments. You search for meaning behind actions that most people ignore. This isn't overthinking for no reason. It's a skill that was built over time. Because understanding people once felt necessary, and now it feels natural. The fifth sign is something important to recognize. Everything you've heard so far, your awareness, your empathy, your analytical mind, these are not flaws. They are adaptations. They were built by a brain that learned how to survive, how to predict, how to protect itself. What others call too sensitive or overthinking is actually a system working exactly as it was trained to. The sixth sign is independence. Not loud independence, but quiet self-reliance. You don't wait for solutions. you build them. You don't rely easily on others, not because you don't value people, but because you learned early that depending on others could be uncertain. So your default became competence, handling things on your own and doing it well. The seventh sign is emotional depth. You don't just experience things lightly. Music hits deeper, moments stay longer, pain feels heavier, but so does beauty. This comes from a highly sensitive emotional system, a brain that has been activated again and again until it became finely tuned. You don't just see the world, you feel it, sometimes more than you want to. And finally, the eighth sign is trust. For you, trust is not given easily. It's built slowly, tested over time. Psychology calls this adaptive skepticism. Your mind learned early that not everything is as it seems, so it created filters. But here's the part people don't see. When you do trust someone, it's real, it's deep, and it lasts. So, what does all of this mean? It means that what you carry isn't weakness. It's not something that needs to be fixed. It's something that needs to be understood. Because traumatic intelligence is not just about pain. It's about how the mind adapts to it, how it turns experience into awareness, and awareness into strength. But there's one important truth. If you don't learn how to manage it, it can exhaust you. Constant awareness, constant analysis, constant emotional input. It can feel like your mind never rests. And that's why the goal is not to lose this depth. The goal is to balance it, to understand what belongs to you and what doesn't, to observe without absorbing everything, to think without getting lost in it. Because when awareness is combined with boundaries, it stops being a burden and starts becoming something powerful. So if you've ever felt like you notice too much, feel too deeply, or think too far ahead, there's a reason for that. And maybe it's not something to silence. It's something to understand. If this made you see yourself differently, subscribe for more psychology that actually explains how your mind works and the patterns you never noticed before.